Seltzer Time!
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast. It's your boy Ricky, aka Dick Chuck, aka the man behind the can at Seltzer Time Official. Here, as always, with my conversation accomplice, the man with the hunch about Worcester, Travis.
What is cracking, Fizzle Fiends? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast. This week on the show, we are talking to local photographer and Worcester lifer, George Annan. But before we get there, y'all know what we have to do. Hey, Ricky, how was your week, buddy?
What's up? My week was lovely. We bookended the week with snowstorms, which is, not my favorite thing.
New England way.
Yeah, it sucks. It's cool. I actually played in the snow the last week's storm 1.
What do you mean you played in the snow? What does that mean?
So we were snow blowing and shoveling and cleaning all that crap up. And Naomi's sister walked up with Naomi's niece, and she was like jumping around in our yard while we were out there. Excuse me. This is exactly why we don't drink seltzer while we're talking. I can't stop burping.
100%.
But yeah, so she was playing in the snow, and then eventually I was like, hey, I want to do that. So I just ran and dove into the yard. And of course, so she's little, she's very young. She's like 3 or something. Her snow imprint is very small. I eat a lot of pizza. There's a lot of Ben and Jerry's floating around up in this vessel. So when I jump into the snow, it is a explosion. There's a crater. It's the whole thing. So, but yeah, I did that a bunch. Dug some tunnels.
Sounds super fun. Oh, I love digging tunnels.
Yeah, it was.
We did get enough snow for that to happen.
We did. So yeah, did that. Just focusing very much on the Bruins and the Celtics. Bruins are on an absolute tear, which I'm really excited about. Celtics are playing very good, but are having some trouble finishing. It's okay. They'll get there. What else happened this week? Super Bowl was last night. Super stoked about that. Go Tom Brady.
I didn't watch a second.
It was cool. I like sports for sure. Football.
I like sports.
I like sports and steak. No, I like football. It's my 4th favorite of the major sports. I don't really care about it that much. I like the Patriots, really. Last night was cool. I wanted Tom Brady and Gronk to win more rings because I'll get to that in my poke, but I think it's fascinating. But I love the Super Bowl ads and the commercials and how the halftime show is presented and all that. So for me, it's a little more fun watching the surrounding things more than the game, but I had a blast watching those. And it was my first Super Bowl paying more attention to Twitter during the game about the ad. What I would do is I'd be watching the game, but I'd be scrolling through Twitter for everybody's take on the commercials. And then when the commercials would start, I'd put my phone down. It was so strange, but it was actually I had so much fun.
What you were looking at for the marketing aspect. I mean, we are at the 1-year anniversary of Planter's worst commercial ever. So
depends on how you look at it, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of that ad, but
it's in my opinion, it's the worst Planters commercial ever is what I was saying. I definitely hated everything they did in that campaign.
But can you even name another Planters commercial? Because I didn't even know they did a commercial outside of that one.
You put me on the spot. I probably can't.
Because it fucking worked. That's why you hate it. Because it worked.
I would disagree with you.
I don't like it. I didn't like the idea of it. I thought it was kind of a bush league move.
I bought less Planters nuts since that ad because every time I looked at Planter, 100%.
It's funny.
They kind of own the market in terms of nuts, though.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I never really like focused on my nut.
I switched to pistachios because, again, you talk about another company
dude.
that understands market. Wonderful, does fantastic ads.
Yeah, pistachio is lovely, but it's not peanut.
It's the same market. It's the same where it's their ad, even an ad as frightening as Stephen Colbert ripping his head open and exposing his inner pistachio nut is as jarring, but it's still connected to an audience more than killing off and then being a baby and then rushing it.
Yeah, but it lasted all year, and you're still talking about it. Like, even though you didn't like it,
but doesn't
work? Matter. It still worked.
But I haven't bought their product. Why? How is it working?
A bunch of other people have. It's also Planters. It's like they don't need to do a commercial to, like, you know what I mean? Like you just said, they're kind of like the nut brand. Like, you know what I mean? Like your parents are going to buy Planters because they've had them their entire lives. The ad didn't necessarily hurt them or help them. It just kind of happened. I didn't like it either.
I would like to see what their market response was.
Because
they definitely changed their tune super quickly. And I'm pretty sure they fired the original creative brand and brought in another one to do Hazard.
Did they really?
I get.
Do you know who did that commercial?
At one point I did. At one point I was mad enough about it that I researched the company that they worked with. I don't remember. I think it had something to do with VaynerMedia.
Yeah. My least favorite internet person is Gary Vee, and he's like the mastermind behind that, I think that's kind of why I didn't like it. Like, I'm not a Gary Vee fan. I think he's annoying. He has his points for sure, but I don't like his style. That entire campaign is so on brand for Gary Vee, in my opinion, which is, I think, why I personally didn't really like it. Can't knock him. I mean, he clearly knows what he's doing, but I just don't like his style. But yeah, either way, Super Bowl is dope.
And ads are cool. I need to learn which ads. The Dolly Parton ad keeps coming up, but that's just because I work with Squarespace.
So yeah, exactly. So like, that was cool. It was fun watching some newer, I don't know, Squarespace I guess isn't newer, but like in terms of like Super Bowl ads, they definitely are. That was fun. I think they could have done something different. If you have the talent of Dolly Parton, why would you waste it on her singing like a revised version of her song? I don't know. It was kind of weird. I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting. I'm really glad to see a company like Squarespace in the Super Bowl. I just think that if you're going to spend the money on Dolly Parton, you could have like maybe done it a little different. The Robin Hood commercial was fine. They were okay. So like the two, obviously like the whole GameStop thing that went down last week. Did you see that Reddit had a commercial?
A 5-second commercial?
Yeah. That the whole world fucking rewound and screenshot because like you had to. That was perfect. It was absolutely
know how much
genius.
They paid for it?
Yeah, they paid like 1 point something, right?
It was like 900,000 is what.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Because it was like 5.5 mil for a 30-second. So 930,000 is what they estimated that they paid for a 5-second ad. That's even so in the ad referenced the fact that people were going to pause and watch and read the thing.
Yeah, of course it was. I thought that was absolutely genius. So smart to stay on with the momentum of what has been going on was really smart. I tweeted about the Robinhood app commercial only because I thought the commercial was kind of stupid, to be honest with you.
I didn't see it.
But they used a Vacationer song, and I was really fucking pumped about that. The commercial started, and I'm sitting there like playing like air piano, and I'm like, holy shit, this is Vacationer. And so I tweeted about it, and the only person that interacted with that tweet was the CEO of Robinhood. I was like, oh shit, that's weird. Because I kind of was like, oh, it's sick hearing Vacationer used in a Super Bowl ad. I kind of wish it wasn't Robinhood or something like that. And he's the only one that interacted with it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of awkward, but whatever. Oatly, which I've never heard of until last night. It's an oat milk company, had the best ad I've ever seen in a Super Bowl. I mean, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. But they had the one that like created the most buzz right off the bat. over the last couple of years. It was literally just their CEO sitting in a field with a keyboard, and he played this little jingle that was horribly amazing about oat milk. And they had given away all these shirts earlier in the day, and like look into that one. There's like a million fucking case studies on it now. But I text Naomi and I was like, we are an Oatly household now. I was so excited about it. My dad didn't get it. He didn't care. Nobody that I like, my dad, my brother both were like, this is kind of stupid. And I'm like, no, it's fucking genius because that song stuck in your head. And it was. That's it. That's my hot take on the commercials. Toyota, that one ruled. Just go watch them all. There's only like 5 that are fucking good. But
so you talk about small companies using Super Bowl ads to promote their business. Like I've learned about how Ben and Jerry's spent their money for a 15-second ad at a time where that's all they could afford to just put out a 15-second informational ad that just had Ben and Jerry eating ice cream. And it says, we make, I think it literally said like, we make the finest ice cream or Vermont's finest ice cream.
Genius.
15 seconds. And it had some of the most impact of all the ads that year. So
yeah, it's incredible. My BFF, Mr. Ryan Reynolds. He again didn't do a Super Bowl commercial for any of his companies, which is very smart. But instead, Diageo, which is like the company that owns everything, it was like him, P. Diddy, and David Beckham. They all have their own liquor companies. They did a little video that came out on like Wednesday or Thursday. And Diageo donated $1 million to a couple of different like bartender funds, which I thought was really smart.
Yep.
So I think it would be cool. So like, okay, the trend lately has been, if you're not going to do an ad, you do something the week leading up to the Super Bowl. Fuck that. I would do it the week before that. Because there's nothing going on, right? Because now like football ends, then there's this 2-week period before the Super Bowl starts, right? So everybody starts to gear up for the Super Bowl commercials. They start to leak the beginning of that week leading up. The companies who aren't going to do a Super Bowl commercial do their thing in that week online, like Diageo, but nobody does shit the week before. So like the next thing should be somebody should jump in there and be like, we're doing this.
Ricky, this is how we get Christmas decorations before Halloween.
I don't care. They're going to do it anyway.
No, we as consumers have to resist.
There's ads going on. I'm just saying, like, there's no, like, there's this weird window that nobody's touched yet. Let's touch that window, dog. Streak that window up.
Touch that window.
All
right.
How was your week?
My week was good. I think like we went through enough. Nothing really substantial happened that is going to affect this conversation. And truthfully, I loved talking to George so much that
me too.
I don't want to delay this anymore. Plus, I actually hung out with George and I'm going to talk about it in my Stoke. So
hell yeah.
See y'all in a minute. What is cracking, Fizzle Fiends? This week on the show, we are talking to George Annan, photographer and Worcester lifer. George, thank you for coming on and hanging out with the boys.
Thank you for having me on. Like, what y'all do is so sick, and I'm just happy to be on here. Like, I don't know, I'm not used to doing interviews like this, so like I'm super excited.
Dude, we're super pumped to have you on, and we're big fans of your work. Like, I love seeing your photography come across my Instagram feed. Like, you have a style, and it's like it's always this shot in a moment where it almost feels less staged and more candid, and I love that about your work.
Thank you.
So
you're probably the most positive person I've ever met in my entire life. it definitely shows through in your work too. I absolutely love it. It's the best.
So it's like I have fun taking pictures. You know what I mean? So like I hope that comes across.
Let's start there. Yeah. So you clearly have fun taking pictures. Is this something you've always felt?
Yeah. Like I started taking pictures like really late. Like I know when I was like younger, I had such a strong resentment towards like taking pictures because my parents would make me like the family photographer. So anytime we'd be at like a family event or church or whatever, my mom was like, "Hey George, like set up the camera." And I used to throw like the biggest temper tantrums. So like growing up, like I used to like hate cameras and pictures. And like it wasn't until I was about 19 or 20 that like I was like hanging out with like my buddies like outside of like McDonald's on Grafton Street. And like that's when like I really realized like, oh, like I like taking pictures. Like I caught like the bug and like I just couldn't give it up.
That's awesome. Was that like that McDonald's? Is that the spot that you guys hang out?
Yeah, like that. Because I went to North High, so like that McDonald's off of Grafton Street nearby Stop and Shop, like we would just always be there, like on like the weekends or even like on like school nights. Like we would just all find ourselves hanging out there. Like it'd be like 6, 7, 8 of us just like hanging out there, eating like McChickens and McDoubles because that's all we could afford, and like just having fun, goofing off.
Like hanging out in the parking lot? Are you guys like skating?
So, yo, the thing is, like, we couldn't even skate at that time. Like, we weren't really that good. Like, we would just stand out there, hang out, play music off one of our homies' cars, and just like I don't know, just like have fun. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the life. I miss those days. To just be completely aimless, to have nothing to do other than stand in a parking lot for 6 hours. Like, damn. So you caught the bug then, and it just kind of stuck with you?
Mm-hmm. Like, it was just one of those things that like. From like the first night, like they gave me like a camera to like mess around with and like test. Like I just was like this feeling that like was like overcome with me. Like I just like it was something I never felt before. And like as soon as like I did it once, I was like, yo, let's do this again soon. And then like that soon turned into like one day, then one day turned to 2 days, then a week, then a month, and then it just kind of like stuck with me.
That's awesome. And then you seem to be collaborating with like every single person I know in the city. I know you're are you officially a part of Food and Combo, or do you just like link up with those guys for events and stuff?
Yeah, like those are like great people. Like shout out to like Che, Amy, Clyde, and like all of them. Like they hit me up around this time last year because they were telling me they were like getting ready to start their whole Food and Combo like program, and like I would just come along with them like whenever I had free time to take pictures with them. And then it's like anytime they do stuff in Worcester, like they always like give me a call, ask me when I'm free, and it's like anytime they have me shoot content for them, I have like a blast. Like they're such nice people, so it's like I do stuff for them. I just if I'm really invested in like the stuff that I'm doing and like I like all parties, it's like I try to like be as open as possible to just shooting like whatever.
That's awesome.
That's the mentality to have. I mean, that's how you're really going to be limitless and surprise yourself with what you are able to capture.
So like I was just with them like the other day, like Friday, like I did stuff. They were doing stuff at like Wormtown. So like shout out to Food and Convo. Like really like big fan of them, and like I love what they're doing.
Yeah, they had us on a show recently too. We all got to sit around and try some hot sauces and hang out. It came in a moment where I've really needed that like community feeling where this pandemic has kind of isolated me to the point where I just felt so lonely. And that night sitting around seeing a bunch of familiar faces and just giggling for an hour and a half was so therapeutic.
Yeah.
So you start shooting your friends and you just kind of like, did you go to school for it? Did you decide at that point, I'm going to go shoot photography in school?
No, so like when I picked up a camera, like I was coming back. I used to go to University of Rhode Island. So like when I would come back to like experiment with like photography and like try it out, like I would be home on like winter break. So like originally like this was like 2012, 2013, like back on like Instagram and like people weren't really posting like pictures from like DSLRs. Like it was all like stuff from like iPhone 4 and iPhone 5 with like super crazy filters. I just remember seeing like my friends post one day and I was like, hey, like that looks really sick. Like I want cool photos of me. So like that's what led to like us hanging out at the McDonald's that we always hang out at and like trying it out. And then it's like from there it just was like I really had fun doing it. And like I went to school for like business and like marketing. So like photography wasn't even on my radar like when I first got into college. So then it's like, as I like started trying out photography more, I started thinking, I was like, all right, like I'm not going to switch my major because like I feel like I was like already in too deep. So then I was like, how can I incorporate like my business background with like my hobby that's like I'm gaining passionate by the second.
They go hand in hand for sure.
Yeah, for real. I mean, to me, I think you made the right choice. Like even with other artists, right? Like it is so hard to just make money as an artist. But if you understand the business behind it and you have an understanding of like how the commercial value of your art, your photography, that now sets you in a completely different, side of the game where it's like you have two sets of knowledge and now you're fucking unstoppable.
Yeah, it was like one of those things too. Like even like when I was shooting, like for like the longest time, like I wasn't really like focused on like profit. I really just had fun, just like loving the game. So that it's like when I was like in school, it's like all the stuff that I was learning, like for the most part at Worcester State, like it was stuff that was useful. But then there were like certain points like in class where it's like, all right, what I'm learning, it wasn't really geared towards like the arts. So then like some of the stuff that like I learned, it was just like through like trial and error and like just like making sure that if like I made a mistake, like I would like confront the mistake head on and just being like, all right, like maybe this didn't work out. How can I go about it in a different way? And then I was just lucky enough to have like peers around me, just old and young, just like always look out for me, just to like try to make sure that like I'm walking in the right footsteps.
That's huge. That's super
Yeah.
huge.
That's all.
I mean, like I am amazed at that. Yeah, it takes a village to raise a child, right? And like that is right there. You are fortunate that you got all these awesome positive reinforcement. That hell yeah, that's awesome, man. Because now, thanks to those people, we have fucking George Annan, who is this awesome local photographer who's real into his skills. Like this is why we need to be lifting up all these creative voices and like really fostering these young creative minds, because who knows what they can result in. That's fucking awesome, man. I'm so pumped to hear that.
Like it was one of those things too, like as I was like growing up trying to like take pictures, like I would always be on like YouTube or like Flickr or like Tumblr, just trying to soak up as much as possible. So then it's like I would kind of be like a hermit at times, like just like soaking in as much content as possible. And then like I would try to like apply what I saw like out in the open, like out on the street. And then it's like I just got super fortunate, whether it was like meeting friends on like Instagram or like stumbling upon like professors at like Worcester State in like the photo department that would like took a liking to me. And like it was just like I really feel like with like photography, it's such a community driven thing that like even though like there's times where like I make work like isolated and like by myself, like I feel like my best work shines like when like I have like a community of people like around me and like we're all like supportive of one another and like nurturing each other, you know.
100%.
Sure. I definitely feel that. It's been so hard for me to like stay creative and stay focused with like being by myself, I guess, without having other people around. It's so hard for me to stay focused if I'm not in a group, team setting, getting stuff done.
Like I think even like with like the whole pandemic, like the first few months hit me like the hardest because like I feel like I'm such an extrovert. Like I gain energy just off of like being around of people, and like the more people I see on a given day or week or month, like I feel like the happier I am most times. So then it's like having to like learn how to like sit down by myself and like collect my thoughts. It was like kind of hard at first, but like even like with like Instagram, like I get so amped seeing like my friends do stuff, and like it doesn't even have to be like anything like creative. Like if I see like people that I know doing stuff that makes them happy, like my brain just internalizes that. Like, all right, George, like you see so and so, like they're doing their thing, they're happy. I'm like, all right, George, like you got this. Like just keep going, and like that's what like spurs me on to like make artwork.
But I think you said it too early on that it's not about the money. And I think we as people recognize when somebody's doing something for the money versus when they're doing something they just care about. And like you said, I get pumped when I see somebody that is really into what they're doing. And it may be something I have no interest in, curling or, makeup tutorials. Like I'm not going to use this stuff, but if the person that's putting this content out is just genuinely living and loving what they're doing, I'm going to get stoked for them because I just love seeing somebody passionate about something.
Like, I don't know. I feel like with like making work, it's like, I feel like it's like one of those things where like, if I can tell that, like, if I'm not like 100% like hyped about it or like thrilled, I know that if I post this up online, it's like, I always have like a hunch that like, oh, like resonate, like, oh, like George's not feeling this, like, oh, it's not his best. So that is like, I always try to like be mindful of like what I put out online. And like, if it's like something like I stand behind, like, I don't even care about like numerical metrics, like likes or like, if it gets like this much followers, like if I feel good about what I'm posting, I know that like the people who are like supposed to see it and like it, like, I know that the work will find them,
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel that.
That's the mentality to have. I mean, you're going to be more peaceful that way.
George, you were spotlighted by Converse last year.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, that was like the coolest thing ever.
Man, that one, I literally was not expecting that. All right, so like for 2020, like my only goal for 2020, like prior to me knowing about COVID and everything, was just to like figure it out. Cause like I had just graduated the winter of 2019. So going into 2020, I was just like, yo, I really want to make this photography stuff work. I'm still trying to find a 9 to 5, but like it's not going well on LinkedIn or Indeed. So like my only goal for 2020 was like to just figure it out. And like fast forward to like May when like Converse hit me up, like I thought it was spam at first. Like when I first started the email, I thought it was spam. So I didn't open it for like the first like 12 hours. I was like, I looked at it and like it happened at a time where like it was so early in COVID, like when we're all in lockdown. So like I read it and I was like, yo, nobody's doing shoots right now. Everybody's like in the house depressed, like nobody's working, like we're all in home, like what are you doing? Like, this is like a sick joke you're playing on me. So, like, I went back to playing video games with like my little brother, and like I had a hunch that like, oh, maybe it might be real, because like I was super curious. So like I read that email at like 3:30 a.m. and like when I looked at like and I processed like who sent the email, and like I read all like the fine print and detail, I was like, oh man, like it's like real. And like I gave myself like a heart attack at like 4 a.m. Like I was like screaming and dancing, and then like I had to like slowly be quiet because I'm like, oh man, like everybody in the house is sleeping. So like it was one of those things that like when they approached me, like I wasn't expecting it at all. And like I'm sure like when like all the campaigns went up, like I feel like a lot of people that I didn't tell, like they're just like, oh, can't believe you're doing this. You know what I mean? But shout out to Converse.
I saw it from Converse before I saw it from you. And then I saw like I recognized the shots and I'm like, wait a minute, these kind of look familiar. And then I saw the name and I went, fuck yeah, George. I remember seeing that. So like, dude, congrats. And that's even cooler that they reached out to you. Like you didn't submit and like try to enter some contest. Just good on you, man.
Like it was one of those things like they emailed me, and like I've always been like a super big fan of Converse. Like growing up as a kid, like I would always wear their shoes, and like into adulthood, like I feel like people would remember me from like parties because like I would always show up, be super loud and like rowdy, but like they would always remember my shoes because like I'd beat my Converse into the ground. Like they'd have holes and rips, but I would just be like, yo, like they're my favorite shoes. So like fast forward to like when it all happened, like it was like such a surreal experience. And like the fact that like they allowed me to shoot all of it like at home in Worcester, you know, like I got to shoot in like the house that I lived in for like all 26 years of my life. Like I got to like share that moment with like my family and my friends and like just the whole city. And like even when they put the stuff online with like captions, like the fact that they're like, all right, like George Annan, he comes from Massachusetts just like us, Worcester Mass native. And it's like it was just one of those things that like it didn't set into for me until like I actually like saw like the full like campaign drop. And like it's just speechless, you know, like the fact that like they let me do 2 campaigns drop within the same week, and like the fact that like they have like my face like in like Converse stores like worldwide and like billboards and like posters and whatnot, not billboards, but like I'm in like every I'll wake up randomly and somebody will like send me a pic and it's like me on like a retail store in like Detroit or somewhere, or like I'll find out that like my face is in like Shanghai or like Europe. Like I remember like back in like October, I found out I was like in Foot Locker. So like Foot Locker made a post about me, like Foot Locker, like Europe. And like, they're like, all right, like George Annan from like Vernon Hill. And like, just the fact that like a global Foot Locker account, like had to type in like my full name and like Vernon Hill. Like those are things that like I could have never like imagined, you know?
That's so insane. Like,
but if that doesn't speak to hard work and passion, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
And like I feel like even like with like all those like campaigns, like they had like artists from like all over do it. Like it was like global work. And like I looked at like some of the names that they had. Some of them were like verified accounts. Some of them had like huge like followings, and like I'm just like happy that like Converse felt like I can tell like a good story and like resonate with like their like client base, and like I don't know, it just like really made me feel good, you know?
Dude, that's so sick, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
So I mean, that's how you've gotten to here. Like, do you have plans? Do you have plans on where you're taking this thing? Do you have ideas, say, for the next couple of months?
Right now it's like I think my biggest thing is like obviously making sure that like I stay in good health both physically and like emotionally. But like as far as like photo wise, it's like I just want to make good work, you know? Like, well, like hopefully I get to do more stuff with Converse, but like even if it's not brand or product work, like I just want to make work that like I can look back at like down the line, like 5, 10, 20 years and still be like, yo, like this is like a really good photo. And like if I can still feel strongly about what I'm shooting, then it's like it doesn't really matter like what I'm making it. Like as long as like I know I'm making work with like pure intentions, it's like I can shoot almost anything. Like there's like some days I wake up, I'm like, yo, I really want to shoot like musicians, or like some days I wake up and I'm like, I want to shoot like community or like kids, or like other days I wake up, I'm like, I want to try like women's wear. Like it doesn't even have to be like sneakers. Like as long as it's like something that like I can look at and be like, yo, even if I don't understand it, it makes me feel like a certain type of way. I just want to shoot it.
Yeah, maybe not tell everybody you want to shoot kids, but
no,
it was funny. That's totally funny. It just, the phrasing was perfect. But no, I feel you. I 100% feel you. Like there are days I wake up and I'm like, I want to design a logo for a band. There are days I wake up and I'm like, I want to design a website for some not shitty, but some business. Like I totally get that. I totally get that like ebb and flow of creative process and getting inspired by the oddest things. Ricky gets up and he wants to make a cocktail.
And then he does, and then it's like anytime he makes it, I'm always like, yo, Ricky, send the recipe. And it's like he's always making it like in front of like a Bruins game or like playing NHL 21. And I'm like, I love that for Ricky.
That's how it's done, man. That's how it's done. That's I have work to do after this, but the second half of my day is going to be some NHL 21.
Listen, that's self-care at its finest. That's self-care at its finest.
Dude, it's hard to balance that stuff out, even as like a fellow freelancer. Like allowing yourself time to take off that's one of my biggest challenges.
Same here. Like I feel like even like I just recently came off like just taking like time off to like not shoot, not look at a camera, and like I feel like it's one of those things that like I'm like one of the type of artists where like if I feel like I'm in the zone, like I just nonstop, just like gotta keep going. So then it's like I never know I need a break until it actually happens, and then once it happens, I'm like, man, like I'm happy it did. I was like tired, you know. But like I feel like strangely optimistic though for like 2021, at least like art wise. Like everything else going on in the world, it's like it's stressful and chaotic thinking about it. But like as far as like me as an artist and like growing, like I feel like sky's like the limit. Like I always have to like remind myself that like I'm still a young person. Like, I mean, we're all young, right? We're all young.
Yeah, but like, you're only at your first steps. I feel that.
Like, I feel like I'm like at like the infancy of like my artistic like journey or like path. And like, I just want to be mindful that like, no matter what I'm shooting, it's like, I'm still always trying to like grow as like person first and like artist like second, and like just try to like just do the stuff that like in my heart I feel like I was like destined to do.
Do you find that are you able to like sit down for like quote unquote like 9 to 5, or do you get the creative bug at like 6 p.m. or 7 a.m.? Like, are you kind of all over the place, or are you able to kind of like structure your day? Like
I'm like learning how to, just because like I do teaching assistant at Clark, so like that form of like structure and like routine that sometimes helps me try to like process like all my thoughts and like ideas. But like for the most part, I'm super chaotic. Like there'll be like some moments I'll be up 3-4 a.m. just like brainstorming, thinking about ideas, or like it'll be like maybe like when I'm like at like the supermarket, like I'll be like price shopper, like being like, yo, I should really shoot this, and like that idea will just come because like I seen like a random label, or like I seen like a color on like a juice package. Like I remember like the other day, like I was like, yo, like I really want to try to work with like more reds, and like the only reason why I thought that was because like I was like in like the juice section, and I saw like a big aisle of like cranberry juice, and like that's what came up to mind.
You wanted to grab your skateboard or your longboard.
Like I feel like I'm like super like impulsive, but like I feel like I'm like learning how to like embrace it, because then it's like I feel like if my brain's scatterbrained, I also want to keep like my audience like on their toes. Like I never want to feel too like predictable or like stale. Like I always want to be like, yo, I didn't know George was onto this, or like I didn't know he was shooting this. Like I always want to keep like not only myself but like other people like on edge, but like in a good way, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I feel that. I mean, I have a very manic depressive way of creating where like I'm much like what you just described, where there are times where I'm in the cut and you cannot get me out of that cut, because that's the only thing that my brain wants to do is make something. And then like you said, you don't realize that you've burnt out until you're well past burnout. And then I screwed myself for 2 days because I've spent the last, better part of 4 to 8 hours working. So recognizing when that like pause point should come or building them in is so fucking challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I'm like the opposite. I'm really good at building in like pauses. I'm really bad at like harnessing when I'm feeling creative, because I'll feel creative at like 10:30 at night, but like we're already in bed and I know that I have to get up in a couple hours and it's not really the time to like start making videos. But
that's when I get it too. Like the other night. So perfect example, Saturday night. All right. So last week I've been working with this business coach and I'm trying to figure out how to get more business. And she's fucking fantastic. This woman, Laura, she's awesome. But she asked me why, if I'm looking for branding work, why my portfolio doesn't represent a bunch of branding stuff. And I'm like, that's a great goddamn question. Well, it's one of those questions that like it sat in my brain, but I couldn't answer it until around midnight on Saturday night. And I went, you need to go through your portfolio. And I'm like, no, I can't do this now. And then my heart starts racing and my brain's just going. And I got up out of bed at midnight, came to my office. I pulled everything out of my old portfolio, put it in these like 3-ring sheets, overhauled the whole fucking thing, went to bed at 3:30, way too goddamn late. But it's like, I couldn't sleep. I wouldn't do anything else. And now I have like a way better feeling. And now it's Monday and I'm like, oh, I could build my point is I totally feel that like, oh, I got to get shit done.
I feel like even like with like what you just described, like I'm like that exact same way where like if I like have an idea of like, yo, maybe I want to go to like this part of Massachusetts to shoot, or like I want to shoot this person, like my brain is just like churning and churning and churning, just like thinking about like all the ways that I can do it and like do it in a way that like hasn't been done often. And like I don't know, I feel like just like that type of like feeling of like satisfaction, like whether it's like 4 a.m. or like 9 p.m. Like I feel like that's the stuff that like makes me like keep wanting to like take more pictures. And like I don't know, it's like fun. Like even like with portfolio work, like I think the biggest thing I've learned is like all the times I've been booked for like anything commercial, it's always been based off like the personal work I've been shooting. So then it's like I feel like now like with like this coming year, it's like I'm trying to shoot more personal stuff to like not only like satisfy like what I want, but also being like, yo, like I did all the sneaker stuff. Like I did all the streetwear stuff. It's like, I want to shoot like more work that's like, it's not necessarily in that realm, but like it can live like anywhere.
Feel that. Yeah. You're not kind of, tied to a role, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know, I never want to feel like boxed in as like a artist or like individual. So then it's like, I feel like that's like the first like actual year where like I don't shy away from calling myself an artist, or like if people like introduce me as like if people introduce me as like a photographer. Before I used to get so like just shy and like not really wanting to talk about it. And like the past like 6 months, it's been like just like the biggest switch in like personality where like I can openly tell people like, yeah, like I make things. I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. So it's like I feel like 2021. It's like I don't know. I always compare it to like sports where like I feel like that like second or third year player where like things are finally clicking and like everything's making sense and like the world's slowing down around him and like he's able to do like all the things that like he can think in his head. So like I feel like I'm at that point of like my creative process, and like it's like super exciting and like intimidating at the same time to like be like aware and thinking about all those things.
I'm jealous as fuck.
But you're in it too.
I can't wait to get that feeling.
It's all in recognizing, we all feel it, but it's in recognizing like how it relates to what your work is. You've seen it when you got fucking Topo Chico to come drop us off a bunch of shit. Like, yeah, that's the Ricky. But to my point, it's framing your successes based on your efforts. And like, what you guys are both describing is the reason why everybody on this call was recognized by Pulse Magazine as people to watch in 2021, because we don't give a shit about, how far we're making it. We're just doing it to do the damn thing because it just makes us feel like a human.
Like, it's one of those things that like, I just like, even now, like my parents, like, I think they were like kind of like worried about me as far as like trying to do the whole freelance thing. Cause like from like our background, it's like the arts isn't really like a thing. Like they want me to be like, you know, like lawyer, doctor, like engineer. And like I totally understand like where they're coming from. Cause like, you know, for them, it's like they always preach like stability and making sure that like, you know, you can take care of yourself. So like I always like appreciate and love my parents for like even having that level of like concern about me. But like I feel like just like creating stuff, it's like I literally don't know how to do anything else. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of those things where like even though like I'm like happy go lucky and like social and all that, like I really feel like I'm not meant to be like at a desk job, or like I'm not meant to be like, you know, working like set things. Like I feel like I like thrive in like chaos and like uncertainty, and like I just like making things. Like my brain's always working and it's always like thinking of like new ways to like try to do stuff. So like that's how like I function. That's how I am. And it's like, I don't know, I'm hoping that like there's like continued success for like all of us. You know what I mean? Like all like everybody on this call, but like even like our friends and family, you know what I mean? Like I just like want that. And like if that can happen, like I'm happy.
Yeah, I feel that. Absolutely feel that. That is exactly how I wish everybody felt that exact same way.
Imagine how beautiful the world would be if we all felt that way, where we all were just cheering for each other.
Man, I feel like I'd be like the biggest cheerleader, and like I feel like it's like bad sick. Like I feel like sometimes like I celebrate like my homies' accomplishments more than like I even do like my own stuff. I feel like sometimes like I post about something like on like IG or like Twitter, and like I feel it looks like I'm not even that excited, but it's like I don't know. I feel like I'd be so amped to see like my friends do stuff, you know, like. I have like friends that just do all different types of stuff. Like when I saw you guys get the post, I was like, yo, like it's sick. Cause like, I know these guys, you know what I mean? Like from like dive bar, you know what I mean? Like I remember like when I was like 21, 22, like Ricky would like sneak me drinks because I didn't have money. Like he'd be like, yo, you want like a Coke, or like you want like a Shirley Temple? And like Ricky would always be like, yo, George, I got you. So like just seeing like all the homies eat, like I feel like that's like the best thing. Cause like I feel like with money and like accomplishments, it's like I can't bring that stuff with me to the grave, but like I'll always have memories about like random encounters I have with like all my pals and buddies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's enjoying the journey and not just focusing on the destination. And it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, man. Sorry, I'm getting all like those warm, tingly feelings because we define our own reality. And if we want to live in a world that has only people that cheer each other on and like lift each other up, we can do that. We can choose the people that we want to put in our social circle and only interact with those people that are understanding, you know, the true power of what being a human can be and being part of a community can be. And it's like, to your point, I love that about our city. I love that there's a larger and growing group of people that recognize that we have these creative ideas to share and this energy to share. And it's all built, it may not be towards the exact same goal, but it's towards a common good that it's amazing to be a part of it.
Like, I feel like even now it's like, I haven't been like more prouder to be from Worcester than like this past like 18 months. Like, I just feel like, I know like in the past, like, everybody's like, hey, like Worcester, like it's like on the come up, it's on the rise. But like I like wholeheartedly like believe that more than ever. Like now, like I feel like there's like so many people just like ready to like take off. And then it's like, so like even like when I did like the Converse stuff and like Bodega stuff, and like the fact that they like allowed me to do it in Worcester and like didn't like hesitate, you know, like they weren't like, oh no, maybe you should do it here, like in a bigger city, bigger population. Like I feel like if like global companies are recognizing like the strength in Worcester and like how it's like on the rise, it's like I feel like sky's the limit for like the whole city, you know. Like I feel like it's like an underdog, you know, like sleeping giant, and like everybody like works so hard and like, you know, like they just want to put like good intentions out there. So like I feel like excited for like just like everybody, you know.
I feel like I definitely agree with that. I think Worcester is kind of at the same point where you are, where things are starting to slow down and you can kind of like see, like you were saying, like that second or third year player where things start to click and fall in line and you really like hit your potential. To me, where the city is now based off of the people that I know and I'm watching them do stuff, it kind of feels like they're hitting their, you know, second or third year where the city itself is starting to come together. It's super fucking exciting to watch. Congrats on a key to the city.
Oh, thank you. I was gonna bring it down with me, but like I have it upstairs. But like Oh man.
Have you tried
so
it on
awesome.
anything? Have you tried it on any doors?
Yo, that key is so massive. It's like, honestly, after that like initial night that it happened, I get so scared to like take it out of the case that like I just have it on my shelf and like I try not to look at it because I get too overwhelmed, honestly, by it.
Dude, if they ever gave me a key to the city, I would wear that shit on a necklace and just walk around, be like, you have to let me in.
Oh my gosh, like like all my buddies will tell me that, and then like I just start laughing. Like honestly, like to be real, like I didn't know that they still did like key to the city stuff. So like I only found out like a couple days like before like the whole like ceremony happened, and like I was just in shock. Like I know Che Anderson, like he called me to like tell me the news, and like when he told me, the way he stood up, he was like, all right, Frank the Butcher's getting a key, and like John Lucas is getting a key, and like he named like some other people, and I was like, yo, like I was like already like happy for them, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, like those are like, you know, my elders, my OGs. It's like, of course they're getting the key, like they're supposed to, you know, it's like long overdue. And like I thought he was just calling me for that, and like if he just hung up off of that, I would have been happy. I would have been like, oh man, like I'm happy you told me that, you know what I mean? Like that's sick. And then like when he said, George, like you're getting one too, like I had like a heart attack. I was like, ugh. You know, like I was with one of my homies, Nelson, and like I gave him the phone, and I was like, yo, Nelson, just talk. I can't talk. I can't think right now. So like I was just like in shock because like I always thought that like they give the key out to like heroes and whatnot, or like people that live up to be like 100. Like I don't know. That was like my view of like the key to the city. Like I never sought out that type of like attention or like that type of recognition. Like it was never like in my plans. Like me, like I feel like I'm so like, you know, simple-minded in a way where I'm just like, yo, artwork. I just want to make more artwork. That like those type of like accomplishments, like I wasn't anticipating. So then like when it happened, like I was just like like in shock, you know, like I had people that I hadn't talked to in like years call me. Like my parents are super happy, and like I feel like when I told them I was doing stuff for Converse, and I was like, yo, like, look, Mom, I'm like on the website. Like they were happy, but like it was on some like, all right, like, are you gonna find a job? Like, what does this mean for like your future long term? But like when I told them I was like getting the key, like my mom was screaming, like my dad hugged me, like my grandma was dancing. So like I didn't know like what type of like weight and magnitude that had until like I saw like my family's reaction. So like I was like super excited that like that was like even like a whole thing to like get recognized for like taking pictures in Worcester, doing like the stuff that I have fun, you know?
But that's what the key, I mean, to me, that's what the quiche is for. The key is for people that are doing work to help raise the prowess or the energy of our city. And that's clearly what you're doing.
So like, I don't know. It's just like, it's just like intimidating. Not intimidating. I'm trying to think about it. It's just like, wow, honestly. Like, it's just stuff where like, I didn't know what to think. So like the days leading up, I was just like, it's cool. It's, and then like on like the day of like, I was sweating. I was so nervous. I was like trying to make sure that I don't like stutter, and like making sure like I shake everybody's like hand and whatnot. And like, it was just like a good time. And like, I hope that like, it's like a sign of things to come for like 2021. Like, I just like, I don't know. I'm just like blessed that like, they like what I'm doing, and like my friends like what I'm doing, and like the city that I was like born and raised in, like if they gave me a key, it's like I feel like I'm doing something right. So like that stuff like it warms my heart, like it makes me feel good.
That's what it's all about, man. You deserve it for sure.
Thank you.
Don't show that to our buddy Joe.
Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, Joe Gonzalez doesn't like hard hands. He wouldn't let me.
Hates hard hands.
He wouldn't let me take any photo with hard hands.
And man, shout out to Joe. I love Joe. Shout out to Joe. He's so good to me. He be teaching me so much. Shout out to Joe. I love that man.
Dude, I call him Papa Joe because he looks out for everybody that he cares about. He just makes sure that he looks out for you. And I'm surprised my phone hasn't rung yet, because back in November, him and I made a standing plan to go kayak out on Lake Quincy once like the major snow hit. And if this isn't the major snow, hopefully he forgot.
You might be in that call tomorrow after what I think it's supposed to get. Well, it's definitely supposed to get like way worse later. So
don't say that. Don't say that. It's supposed to get worse.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to get like another 12 inches.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
they're
hate
talking,
snow, so
they're
I'm
talking
not
foot
excited
plus.
about this at all.
it's weird. I love living in New England, and like I like the fact that we have like 4 seasons because I don't know. I feel like the way I think and the way I create artwork is like different in all 4 seasons, in a way that like I'm happy that I at least get to experience it. But like as soon as like I see like a drop of snow, I just get like like I hate shoveling. I don't have the physique to shovel. Like I
Me either.
like, yo, we're kings. We're too handsome to be shoveling. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, that's what it is.
We're kings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel
Mom,
like,
I'm too handsome to shovel the driveway.
like today when I woke up and I saw the cheese with like all the snow, I was like, yo, like this isn't cute. You know what I mean? Like this is not hot. Like I'm like, man, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like I was watching like the Royal Rumble yesterday. I was like, yo, so amped up, so happy, and I'm like, yo, this definitely killed my mood. Like I'm not trying to shovel today.
I have a friend that's a writer, and the way she looks at, so she's up in Vermont now.
Mhm.
She plays to the seasons. So like in the winter, that's when she does all of her writing for the year. And like she'll really buckle down and do just like 3-4 months of just heavy writing. So by summertime, she's marketing, or she's, enjoying her summer, and hopefully she's, earned enough income at this point that she can be taking the summer off. But she plans her cycle to New England seasons. And like, that's something that I wish I can do better.
Huh.
Yeah, that's like, I feel like even like trying to plan within like the New England cycle, it's like, I've never been like a detail oriented person. It's just always just been like on a whim. So then it's like the way like my brain will be like, all right, like there's like some stuff I think about like January, February, where like if it's like July, August, like I might do like the complete opposite thing. So it's like I want to be like more mindful of like the cycle and being like, yo, like why do I do this stuff in like the fall compared to like why I want to do stuff in like in the spring. So like that's like so cool that like your friend's like all the way up in Vermont and like she just gets like all her writing done like in the winter time. That's like so amazing.
She's been at it a much longer. She's in her 50s, but Sally, shout out Sally.
Shout out to Sally.
Just understanding, like Ricky said it before, understanding when you're creative, working towards your schedule. You may not be like, I will straight up admit, between the hours of 12 and 3 every day, I struggle. I am on the fucking struggle bus. And that's usually when I take a nap. That's usually when I'll do like the stuff that like the lighter stuff that I need to do, like the real low effort stuff, because 6 to usually it's like 8 to midnight. That's when I'm getting my like punch, and that's when I want to fucking destroy everything and go crazy, go nuts. So it's just planning to your strengths is really the best way to do it, in my opinion.
I feel that for sure. Like I feel like even like just seeing like what you guys like do like on a daily, and like seeing like the growth of like where like the podcast is, you know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's like fun like when you're doing something and like working on stuff and creating, where like you're not only growing as like artists but like as like people, and like I can see like the growth in like both of y'all from like the first episode that I would see online to like now, and it's like you guys are like in a zone where like you know where you want to take things, and like you're like kind of like working around everything, and like you just there's like a confidence that like I can see it, you know what I mean? So like seeing that from like how you guys are, like I hope that like this year I can see like the confidence in myself as far as like what I'm making, or like how I'm like putting myself out there. So then it's like I think that's like the fun stuff about like making artwork. I feel like the more art that I make, like the more I'm like learning about myself, just like from like a holistic purpose. Like I feel like I'm like learning different things about me, and like I feel like I'm like learning more than like I ever did back when like I was in school. That like it's like it gives you like goosebumps.
Dude, that's what it's all about.
You're silly to look at us and compare to like, man, more people have seen your work than have listened to our podcast. So we want to get up to your level.
No.
But that's my point. That's my point. And that's why this works. That's why our scene's so powerful right now, is because we're all just like kissing each other's ass and telling him how great you are. Because that's the shit, man. It makes you feel good on the inside. And then, like it says, it gives you the confidence. And if you know your homie's got your back, and if they're telling you that, I might doubt myself, but they're telling me that this shit that I'm working on is fucking cool. Like, all right, let's fucking go. Let's do this. I can do this. Like, it's
like just see people that like are just like I just like seeing people win. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I feel like I did the stuff that I did, and like I know that it's like only the beginning, but like seeing like my homies do anything, I'm like I get mad happy, and like that drives me like knowing that like my homies got something planned, like that alone will be like my like coffee for the day, and like I can just like run off like that energy, you know. Like I don't know.
I totally feel that.
It's just like, especially like if it's like homies out in Worcester doing like Worcester based things, because like you always hear stuff about people like complaining about the city, like like I wish it was this, like it's not this or it's not that, and like I know when I was like younger, like in my teens, I was like like I want to be like in a big city, da 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 da. But like I always feel like if you're making stuff and like I feel like if your stuff doesn't resonate with like the community that like you live in and that you engage in every day, then it's like it doesn't matter if you want to do like the biggest things. It's like you got to get like your community behind you and like let it like be like snowball effect.
That's what it's all about.
Dude, all the bands we talk to, that's what they say. Like the best bands have the strong local presence, local support before they start hitting the road. And like they're like 4 years strong, a pretty well-known rock and roll band that's from our area. Like they come home and do a holiday show every year because
sells out.
Yeah.
So like I remember being at like one of the holiday shows, like I think it was 2017, and like it was like crazy. It's like you would have thought like they're like the biggest band in the world, like, even though they are big, you know. But like you would have thought that it was like a Kendrick Lamar or something, where like I look around, everybody's like singing the words, everybody's crying, hugging, dancing, and it's like I feel like I want to be like that equivalent with like artwork. So like even like if I don't make work based in Worcester, like I still want people that know me from like my upbringing from like Vernon Hill Elementary to be like, yo, like I'm proud of George, like he's doing it. You know what I mean?
That's what it's all about.
Seltzer Time boys are proud of you. We are proud to call you fellow people to look at or watch in 2021. How can people find your work on the internet? How can people find you?
So my Instagram handle is Kool-Aid George.
Best Instagram handle ever.
Honestly, when I came up with that name, I didn't think I'd be on like internet for that long. I just needed something funny so that way if I ever got signed out, I can remember what's my login information. And like when I was coming up with like names, I was like, yo, I really like Kool-Aid and my name's George, and I just put the two together, and like it just stuck with people. So like now, like if I go out, like my homies, they'll call me Kool-Aid, or like if people like if like people like I haven't met before, like if they like recognize like my glasses or like one of the hats, I really like, yo, Kool-Aid, and I'm like, yo, like what's up? So like it's like sick, like, you know. And my favorite flavor is blue raspberry lemonade. That's my favorite Kool-Aid flavor.
Ooh, okay.
It's been a minute since I've had Kool-Aid, if I'm being honest. But
I try not to drink it a lot now, just because like there's so much sugar in it. But like when I was like 17 and I came up with the name, I was like, yeah, man, my metabolism, like I'm gonna drink Kool-Aid 24/7. I just was like, but like now I'm trying to like chill out. I'm trying to be like, you know, like more rounded and like healthy and whatnot. But like Kool-Aid George on Instagram, and then for like my website, it's just georgeannan.com.
And that's GeorgeAnnan.com.
Yep.
It'll be down in the description for anybody that's looking for you. And
yeah.
George, thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you for being part of our city, and thank you for making cool work and just being a friendly face.
Thank you for having me.
And being the most positive human being I'm pretty sure that I know.
Listen, if I'm up there, you're up there too. Both of y'all are up there too. Ricky, right. Yo, shout out to both of y'all. Shout out to Ricky, because like, yo, I miss Dive Bar every day. Like, man, you made me the best Shirley Temples, and I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
I got you, man. Anytime you need a drink, let me know. I'll deliver it.
Yo, Ricky would be there DJing on the aux. He'd play like the Clips, or like he'll play like Pharrell. We'd be jamming out, dancing, and then he'd make me a Shirley Temple. And the way I would look at him, I'm like, yo, y'all good people, man. I love y'all so much. Y'all good people. Good people for sure.
And when this pandemic shit's over, we're gonna figure out a time and a spot to just, even if it's not a real bar, we're all just gonna get together. We're gonna give Ricky and Shay the aux, and we're all gonna dance our butts off.
Yes.
together. In the
Together.
same room.
I'm here
I
for
missed
it.
that.
Here for it.
Welcome back, everybody. That was a blast. George is, I mean, I think I said it like, I don't know, 65,000 times, but he is literally the most like positive, inspirational energy person I've ever met, especially in Worcester.
Yeah.
The dude is always in the best mood. He's just such a great person to know. I know we have been kicking around having him on the show for a little while. We finally were able to pull the trigger on that one, and that was a blast.
Dude, it's super pumped. And like George is a guy that I've definitely known for a couple of years now. We've been, just casual friends, friendly, I guess is probably a better way to describe it. But to actually have a minute to talk and to learn and to realize that we have a lot of similar feelings on things and when our paths are similar and aligned, and we both just want what's best for our city and for our communities and for our people. And man, that's the kind of people that when you and I first started this damn thing, he is the prime example of the people that we're trying to raise up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that one.
Yeah. So thank you, George. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for being such an awesome part of our city.
Yeah, you're the best, man.
All right. Time to hit him with that good.
Let's do it.
Solon, your turn.
Stokes and pokes, and Stokes and pokes, Stokes and pokes, and Stokes and pokes, banana Stokes and banana pokes, and Stokes and pokes, and Stokes and banana.
All right. So I'm going to poke. I'm not going to poke the snow because, again, we live in New England and it's to be expected. We can whine about it, but it's still there. But more specifically, I'm going to poke the fact that we do live in New England, and it is part of our responsibility to remove snow from places. Here in Worcester, we are trying to create a walkable city that we can move about, where people of all abilities can access our sidewalks safely and move about our city safely. And to do that, the snow needs to be removed from the sidewalk and not piled up in large collections at the entrance to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And again, yes, this is going to have some other issues that I'm not touching. I'm glossing over big things. Yes. What do you do with the snow? Where do you put it? I don't know, but we got to do something because, whether or not it's a friend in a wheelchair or a friend that I know that is walking two dogs and pushing a stroller, trying to get through the downtown area, the fact that this person is incapable of moving successfully through these spaces that are supposed to be designed to access, that's not cool, guys. We could do better.
Yeah. When I go to work downtown, I park like further down the street because there's no parking at all. But I have probably like a 5-minute walk from where I park to where I actually go to work. The last week, because of all the snow, every single day was an adventure. Some days it was like straight up, you couldn't walk on the sidewalk, and then they would kind of clean it, but it was like slush. And then that obviously froze. And then it was a straight up ice rink. It was a little interesting. And like, I can't even imagine trying to navigate that as a person who, has any type of disability, or not even disability, but just like, like you're saying, a stroller or a dog or literally anything. I'm just walking. Yeah. But yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah. We're being ableist, and I don't want to do that. I think our city is better than that. I think we should treat our people better than that. And we just need to solve this out. We can figure it out. We're smart people. We're in New England. We're smart fuckers. Let's figure this shit out.
It's true.
I am stoked. I'm stoked that Ricky keeps burping because that's what Seltzer does to you.
Dude, I can't help it. It's like so good and cold. The bubbles are like very refreshing, but I also can't stop burping. So I'm out. The thing is, my water bottle's empty. So I need something to drink, and the smooth water is not here. So whatever. Sorry, guys.
The smooth water is not here. I love that. So I am stoked on, I've had this brand now, this Hustle and Work brand that I've been working with Worcester Wears on for the past couple of years. And it was just this idea that I wanted to design shirts that are like a locally represented streetwear brand. I think it's silly that, not silly. I think it's a missed opportunity that other places, other cities are putting out shirts that say Brooklyn across their chest, or, Portland, whatever. Our city's just as cool as that. And I love what Worcester Wears is doing, but I think that their market is a little bit different than the market that I'm trying to approach. So with Hustle and Work, I've been designing kind of like a darker, a little more rough and tumble brand. And with the discovery, usually real talk, TikTok put me onto a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do, which is bananas to me, but I'm also extremely thankful for. So I now have a clear way that I can manufacture a bunch of Hustle and Work material quickly without having to put in a lot of like upfront costs, which then I can now keep the merchandise lower in cost. So like legit merchandise.
Those are so dope.
This is yours, kid.
I'm
This is coming
very
to
excited.
you as soon as you and I can hang out.
Very excited.
Well, I'm stoked that I live so freaking close to George because I was able to link up with him last week, and homeboy took an awesome shot of me. He took
He's
a
the
series of
best.
them. I could throw him free gear. I gave him some t-shirts. You know what I mean? As we continue to
He's the
build this
best.
thing, we're going to pay him. And that's how we can build this thing, and it can build this community thing. And I'm super excited. So I'm really just stoked on March 1st. March 1st is when I'm planning to get the whole store launched with what the first season's offerings are, and then start working on the next summer line.
Yeah.
So super pumped.
Summer line.
Hope you guys will
And the
check it out.
feeling's easy. Fuck yeah. I'm into it.
Tank tops. But yeah, I mean, and with this
I'll just start working out.
Yo, you and me both.
I'm not going to work out.
But with this type of manufacturing in place, we can also expand what Seltzer Time is able to. We can expand what Seltzer Time is able to offer you guys. So, flip flops and tank tops could be coming.
We're basically going to be like the Kenny Chesney of Seltzer.
Blue on black.
You're welcome. You're welcome, people.
What do you got for them?
All right. All right. So my poke is all the hate toward. Okay. First, I'm right. I'm gonna preference this one because I understand a lot of it. But politics aside, the hate for Tom Brady last night is like a little too much. I like love him or hate him. You literally can't deny that all this dude does is win. He put together a career that we literally will never see again. Ever. Like he single-handedly has more Super Bowl rings than any team, which is completely insane. He's been to 10 out of 20-year career. He's been to 10 Super Bowls and he won 7 of those. And he was MVP in 5 of them. Like that's completely insane. And then every single year there's this like, well, is this going to be the one that really slams the door on the him being the greatest of all time conversation? It's like, guys, shut the fuck up. Like nobody is even close. Like not a single player is even close to what he has done. Aaron Rodgers, what about him? He has 1 ring. Like, which is awesome. He's really, really good. But like, come on. That's fucking ridiculous. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so annoying. Half the articles are, is he the best athlete of all time? Half the articles are, is this going to be the one that really cements it? Like, oh my God, there's like nothing else. This guy literally cannot do anything else at all. It doesn't exist. He literally won the Super Bowl in his home stadium last night. That's never been done. No team has ever even gone to the Super Bowl the year that it was in their home stadium. He fucking won it. He won it with a different coach. So now you can't even just say it was all Belichick. Like all he's done is win championships. It's unbelievably impressive. So my poke is on those people who just can't help themselves but bitch and moan about it. Like in 10 years, you're going to get to tell your kids that you were able to watch the greatest fucking athlete entire career. That's insane. That's unbelievable. Like, and the fact that him and LeBron are doing it at late in their career, and even LeBron, like, Doug, I mean, we're not going to get on that road. This could be a whole nother episode, but like, just fucking enjoy the fact that you're watching the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't even like football. Like,
To me, it's easy to say when he did most of his winning here. I'm curious if we would feel the same way if it was like Red Sox versus Yankees, when the Yankees were winning all those, and everybody around here just complained about, oh yeah, but they have the biggest budget and blah, blah, blah.
That's okay.
Just curious.
Yes,
I'm not playing devil's advocate.
No, I understand what you're saying. And like, I hate the New York Yankees, but I fucking love Derek Jeter because Derek Jeter won and he did everything the right way. That's all he did. There's no bad things you can say about Derek Jeter. Did I talk shit about Derek Jeter? Of course I fucking talk shit about Derek Jeter. I'm a Red Sox fan. But like at the end of his career, every single person across the fucking sports universe was like, that dude was a badass. And like, he wasn't the best shortstop of all time, but he is up there in terms of the best, like
consistently
champion. You know what I mean? Like all he did was win championships. He's incredible. And like, there's something to be said for that. And it sucks that is always a conversation that happens the final season or after they retire. Like, enjoy the fact you're watching. And even then, like Tom Brady, it's insane what he has done and like the career he has had. And it's going to suck that in 10 years, it'll finally hit people and they'll be like, oh yeah, no, we got to watch literally the greatest.
That long? See, you just said something that just made me think. I wonder if the season after he retires is when people finally all just being like, okay, now that we're not playing against him, I could recognize that the dude was Bamf.
They will, but it's still not going to fully sink in until there's 10 years of like everybody's upset. Okay. Case in point, the other quarterback last night, Patrick Mahomes. I fucking love Pat Mahomes. I think he's incredible. He's great for the game of football. He's young. He's arrogant. He's unbelievably talented. Like he's the perfect face of the NFL. He will never be Tom Brady. He won't. He will never be Tom Brady. It doesn't happen. You can't have two quarterbacks like that. It doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he'll win more rings, most likely, unless, something horrible happens. But like, he just doesn't, there's something to be said for like what Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes didn't bring his team even close to a championship last night. He was the best player on that team, 100%. He worked his balls off, but he didn't hold the ability to like calm his entire team down and kind of like put the entire thing on his back. Even though he tried, he just doesn't. There's this, you can't teach this like skill that Brady has to go down in the field and win. It's fucking impressive.
I feel you. It's a leadership thing.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, I wish I was able to watch more of to fully understand Wayne Gretzky's career. I was a little too young. We got to see somebody who did that on a much larger scale. The NFL is literally the biggest sport in the world outside of like European soccer. To watch the greatest of all time is a fucking gift. It was amazing. So please stop complaining about Tom Brady. I understand he likes Trump. I get it. I fucking hate Donald Trump. But like, for a second, just understand what you're getting to watch. It's fucking impressive. That's it.
He plays sports ball well.
He plays sports ball. Oh my God. I hate the sports ball term. Nothing boils my blood more than the sports ball term. It's so annoying to me.
Why is it so annoying to you?
Because it's always said during the playoffs. Not a single fucking day goes by in the regular season of any sport where somebody's like, oh, the old sports ball game's on tonight. But the minute the entire world's attention is on one thing, sports ball gets thrown out. It makes me fucking psycho.
I use the term all the time.
I hate it.
Ricky, I hate to tell you this. People that don't live, breathe shit sports, we use sports ball to make fun of people that live, breathe shit sports. Because I got to tell you, buddy, at the end of the day, these people are just playing a game. And you know what really boils my blood?
That's impressive.
You know what boils my blood? The fact that we are spending as much time talking about a person that just played a game where there are plenty of people in this world that are actually doing things to benefit our society more than just entertaining us. But we don't really seem to value those teachers or those, other things. And this isn't a shot at you. This is a shot at just like, so we actually, with Woot Nanny, we had an interesting conversation about potentially counter programming the Super Bowl and putting up like an anti-Super Bowl stream, thinking that some of our friends wouldn't want to watch the Super Bowl. But no, it is so fucking ingrained in culture that it didn't make sense for us to do it. And it was going to be a waste of our time. Plus Brian really wanted to watch the Super Bowl. So that's cool. That's totally good. Yeah. And to me, I'm totally, whatever entertains you. I don't give a shit. I like watching people play video games. I fucking get it. However, I don't know. The sports ball is around people. And I'm sorry that it boils your blood, but I hate that I know that now because I'm totally going to use it more.
It's fine.
And it's out of love. It's absolutely out of love.
No, of course, I know. I don't know why it drives me so crazy. It just, I don't know. There's something like...
It's a pet peeve.
It just reminds me of... I don't even know what it reminds me of. It's just something about that term. It's driven me crazy my entire life. Even as like a young kid, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get it. Drives me nuts. It makes me crazy.
What are you stoked about, bud?
Nothing. Everything sucks. I'm not stoked about anything anymore.
Oh, I gave my buddy a case of the money.
No. All right. That. So on a lighter note, have you ever heard of the Night Game?
No.
So the Night Game,
N-I-G-H?
N-I-G-H.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Night Game is the new project of, remember that band Boys Like Girls?
Okay.
So Boys Like Girls broke up, as one does, and their lead singer, whose name I can't remember to save my life, started this project called The Night Game. He released like 2 songs, or maybe even one song. I don't really remember. Maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And it's really good stuff. It's just like 80s pop songs, kind of. It's very like, I can't even like think of who to compare it to, but it has like a very like synth pop, like epic, should be in like a Tom Cruise movie trailer from Top Gun type shit, but it's really, really good. He never really got big, I guess, with it. He got to open like a John Mayer tour, which was awesome. All reviews of his live show were wonderful. And he released a bunch of smaller releases since then. I kind of forgot all about it, which sucks because like the rest of his stuff's really good. I listened to it all over the weekend. But on Friday, he released like his new record. It's called Beautiful Stranger.
Oh,
no. Oh, maybe. I don't know. No, this one's called Beautiful Stranger. I'm sure he has something called Dog Years, but yeah, it's really good. The whole thing is awesome. You kind of want to dance around. The lyrics are incredible. It has this like beautiful movie trailer epicness to every single song. I'm just super pumped about it. I also just fucking love really good pop music.
I didn't realize they were from Boston. Martin Johnson is the guy's name.
Yeah. Oh, Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize Boys Like Girls were from Boston. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. When I was younger, I guess. Well, technically I was younger. So my first office at SJC, their drummer's but one of his kits was like next to my desk and it lit up. So I would use that as like a light. It's cool. That was like the only, I saw them a bunch of times when I was younger. They either opened for bands or bands I like opened for them. But I never really fucking cared. I only know Great Escape.
I was gonna say The Great Escape is the song I know. And it's a jam.
It is. It was good. It was the thing with that band was like, if they came out 3 years earlier, I would have probably thought they were the coolest band ever. I was just a little too old when they came out that they didn't work for me. But I saw them. Bands I liked opened for them, so it was cool. But he has a pop project and it's absolutely fucking incredible. And I probably will listen to it later on today again. It's really good.
This article right here says he's going to be releasing a whole album called Dog Years as a series of 11 singles.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'll take that.
So it seems like this is just the first of many coming your way.
Sign me up.
All the more reason I should go check him out now. So thanks for the tip.
Dude, he's really, 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 really good. And the songs are all like very poppy, but they're very different from each other. So that's cool. Some of them are like, I don't even know. It's just fucking, he's so good.
I'm always down to listen to something that isn't your standard cookie cutter, whatever. So if you're going to take a genre and progress it in any shape or form.
Yeah. He's literally doing like the best version of pop music, outside of Bad Rabbits. Motherfucking
first.
Well, motherfucking boys.
I think you've done it, people. I think you've killed an hour listening to us ramble, and we are forever grateful.
Shout out to the Woo Sox really quick, because it is now officially baseball season.
Yeah.
Very excited. Very excited.
Hopefully the grass starts showing up and we can see it.
That'd be nice.
Baseball in the snow sounds fun.
No, it doesn't. I fucking hate snow.
You could find us at SeltzerTime.com or find me at Hunchback Travis.
And you can find me at DickChuck77, every single platform. We out here. And Seltzer Time Official, pretty much the exact same sentence. Every single platform. We out here.
Ricky's on a campaign to try to get Coca-Cola to pay us to do an ad for Topo Chico for next year.
Hey, dude, I'm starting it today. I'm not even kidding you.
355.
Every single day, we will post something like showing Coca-Cola why they should be paying us to be in the Topo Chico ad for next year. I don't understand why regular seltzer is not. I understand, like, it costs a lot of money to make a Super Bowl commercial. I get it, but like, everybody is leaning into like soda or beer, and I know there's a shit ton of money there. I'm not a fucking moron. I just don't understand. There is a lot of money in seltzer, and most of these companies are owned by massive companies. Change the game. Do a goddamn commercial about seltzer. It would be hilarious. And I don't know, throw Travis and I $200,000 to be in it. Big fucking deal. Whatever. I don't care. What's the big deal?
We'll watch our mouths too. We promise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I won't swear in the commercial. I know like FCC, I get all that shit. It's fine. They just don't regulate our podcast yet.
Yeah. So fuck the FCC and